Are you here for a podcast? Because we're about to do a podcast.
I'm here to record a podcast.
I'm recording a podcast.
Who are you talking to right now?
Talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Talking to the internet.
Oh, the internet. They're
internet.
here to listen to a podcast.
Welcome to Alpha Rookie. We are going to be doing another horror podcast today with your co-hosts, two hosts, Kyle and Ryan.
Kyle and Ryan.
Who's Kyle and who's Ryan?
I'm Ryan.
I'm Kyle.
You can tell by our voices.
That we're human beings and not robots.
I have the real nasally voice and you're the other guy. Okay, so introductions are out of the way.
Yeah.
In case this is your first time joining us, I guess. We're getting a lot of new people on the channel, so that's very possible. So what are we here to do today? What are we here to talk about?
So for anyone that's new to our channel lately, we do horror movie marathon podcasts every once in a while.
We're probably the first people to ever do that.
That's right. I don't think anyone in the history of the internet's ever
very
marathon
unique.
horror movies and talked about them. Today we are here doing the
This is kind of a special one.
movie series. It's Alive.
It's Alive.
I don't know if you've ever heard about this before, but there's a thing, and there's 4 movies, and it's called It's Alive.
I had heard of It's Alive before we'd watched these and had no idea there were 2 sequels and a remake.
Thing. So we are doing this set of movies today because of our Patreon. This set of movies is requested by Ted Harrington. He was one of our best patrons. If you want to have a movie series requested and maybe have us do it, go check out our Patreon. It's on the internet, patreon.com/alpharookie. You can Google it. You could look at the description in this video.
We have it everywhere.
Yeah,
Maybe too many places.
every one of our videos talks about it. So yeah, if you interested and you maybe want a series for us to do, check out our Patreon.
As long as it's something we actually want to do. In this case, it was.
It's a super high amount of money to do this one, but hey, that's the way it is, I guess.
Hey, it worked. As long as it was something that,
Well, or we can afford to buy it if it's some weird,
Right, as
off
long
the
as-
wall.
yeah, you can't request something that we have to break into Fuckface's house, like when Wu-Tang sold their album to,
To the Martin Shkreli.
review that Wu-Tang album. Like, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we couldn't do that. So, anyways, we are doing It's Alive. There are 4 movies in the series, directed and written by Larry Cohen.
The first 3 are.
Yes.
I mean, the 3 original are, and then the 4th one is not actually in the series. It's a remake of sorts.
Yeah. So let's just get down to it.
Yeah.
What is It's Alive?
It's Alive is a movie from 1974, written and directed by Larry Cohen, as you said. Larry Cohen. This podcast is also somewhat timely because there's going to be a Larry Cohen documentary coming out soon that looks really cool. It's got Martin Scorsese and John Landis and just all the big talking heads that you want to hear talking about this movie Hollywood legend, rough and tumble indie filmmaker, guerrilla filmmaking kind of guy who did a lot of cult horror films and blaxploitation films and exploitation films in general throughout the 70s and 80s.
You kind of already answered my question, which was going to be, what is a Larry Cohen? And why does Larry Cohen matter?
Right. I had heard about Larry Cohen, but I never really sat down and looked at his catalog, which I'm just kind of been starting to do in the last couple of months. Probably his most popular movies are this one, It's Alive, also Q, The Winged Serpent, and The Stuff.
Oh, that's him too?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now that we have that, I want to watch that, I guess.
There you go. But he's done tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff, huh?
Tons of stuff. I didn't say
Has he done tons of the stuff?
he does. Yeah. Well, he did one movie called The Stuff. He did.
And we're not talking about the stuff.
Right.
We're talking about some other stuff.
Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, the Yaphet Kotto, the actor that plays Parker in Alien. He did like a blaxploitation with him, starring him. At one point I haven't seen yet. Black Caesar, and some other stuff as well. Anyway, he's cool.
Still alive?
Yeah. I think he's still kicking around. Yeah, because
It's a really bad phrase to say about someone who might be older
I know,
at this
right?
point. Still kicking.
I don't actually think he's that old.
Well, I mean, if he was making movies in '74, that was 40 years ago.
One of the
plus.
I think the newest movie that he did, he's probably done movies since then, but that you have heard of is Phone Booth.
Colin Farrell one.
Yeah. He at least wrote that. I don't know that he directed it.
I actually, as much as I don't like Colin Farrell, I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's a decent movie.
Pretty good. So let's get into the actual movies.
Okay,
It's
so
Alive.
It's Alive.
What is It's Alive? Why is it a horror movie? What is that? What's in it?
It's Alive is a baby exploitation.
That's a new genre.
It is my Twitter review is this is a very cool, classic, old fashioned monster movie with a Definitely not old-fashioned monster premise.
I think that's more than 140 characters.
Yeah, that's probably not going to make it.
It's about a...
It's about a killer baby.
Yes.
It's about a killer baby. It's about...
who's kind of a monster.
Is a monster.
But he's not just a baby who can kill. He's obviously strong.
It's got big teeth and claws and comes out of the womb and kills people immediately and just seems to kill everybody it comes into contact with. And
except for the mothers.
It's kind of one of those what-if extrapolation scenarios. He just literally sat down and said, what if you went to the hospital and you had a baby and the baby came out and was a killer monster? That's it. And then the rest of the movie follows suit. So that's what It's Alive is.
So let's just start from the beginning. These movies, well, I'm trying to think. The second one, and not as much the second one, but at least the first one, this isn't Jaws. This doesn't take you 45 minutes to see the monster. This is like, oh, the beginning of the movie is, hi, I'm pregnant. Oh, I'm going into labor. Let's go to the hospital.
Right. So one of the things I love about this movie is that it completely hits the ground running. There's about 15, maybe even 20 minutes, because there's a lot of time spent like in that hospital, the different dads talking to each other in the waiting room, and I don't know exactly what the minute mark is for when that stuff happens, but you get the family, you get a husband, wife, and they already have one son together, and see them wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, it's my water broke. It's time.
Also, they were very cavalier about having a kid. Like,
I think they were easygoing people, which is kind of what is one of the sad things about this movie.
Well, I was gonna say being through a couple of births and being someone with kids. Yes, between contractions, there can be like, okay, a little bit of relief, whatever. But he's like, hey, let me hit you with my pelvis a little bit, and let me grab your little ass cheeks. Like, it's a little too happy in between those contractions. I don't know. My wife was just like, get me to the fucking hospital.
That's because this was in the 70s when everybody was tougher, not little babies. I loved the whole opening sequence. I thought it was very pointedly like loving, nurturing atmosphere. The dad comes in, wakes the son up gently picks up the cat and wakes him up with the cat and stuff. It's really cute. The kid's got like peace sign wallpaper all over the back. It's the most serene, nice family environment ever. And then they get to the hospital and oh boy howdy is his father so happy to have a second kid, and he's really into it. And then yes, his wife goes into labor.
Which is okay, so I remember olden times, I think about like an I Love Lucy episode where it's like, oh, the dads just kind of wait outside and oh, the baby's here. Oh, go see the baby, right?
Here's a cigar.
And so they were out there in the room, and then she's like, oh, come get dressed and come into the delivery room. Like, oh, okay, so maybe this is progressive enough in the 70s that he's going to be there. All he does is walk in and hold her hand and go, it's okay, you can do it. I love you. I'll be outside.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Why did you even bring him in? But, yeah, that's births aren't like that anymore, man.
Well, births...
They're like, hey, do you want to see... It's crowning. Do you want to see inside your wife's vagina and look at the baby? And I'm like, no.
Well, no births are like this because when this birth is finished, everybody in the room dies.
Yes, they do.
And what I love about this movie in terms of, like I said, hitting the ground running, there is no...
Well, so give yourself some credit there. That's a double entendre. The movie hits the ground running. That baby hits the ground running.
That baby hits the ground running and slicing and biting and, and slaughtering its way to freedom.
And climbing.
And climbing its way up the skylight. Apparently, there's a skylight in
inside the operating room.
But there is. Anyway, there's no time waste in a modern film. There would have been what happened? There would have been like at least a half an hour devoted to, I don't know what happened. Did she do it? Investigating her? Did she kill everybody in the room? The mother? All this kind of stuff. Everybody just accepts it's killer baby.
Which is also, like, you're kind of saying, like, oh, modern movies like this because they missed the point or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, why is nobody asking the questions here?
Somebody said, oh, grown man couldn't fit up that skylight. That was it. That was the moment where somebody went, it couldn't have been a man. It must have been a killer baby.
And everyone just accepted that. Like, oh, yeah, the killer baby. Okay, well, with everybody, there's a baby on the loose and it's killing. All right.
So you need to remember, this is what you haven't seen the stuff yet, right?
No. Okay, let me just say, too, also, like, as far as recommending these movies or this one or the other ones, if you want an idea of what a 1974 movie feels like, I would say the original Dawn of the Dead. It's just in terms of like...
I was thinking Dawn of the Dead as well.
I mean, it's very same time, 1 year apart, but just like dead space in a movie. Like dead air, kind of slow at points. The acting isn't really the greatest acting at times, But you can get past some of that stuff because like Dawn of the Dead is being one of my favorite movies of all time. I know that the guy who plays Flyboy is like not a very good actor in that movie, but yet Roger and Peter are great. You know, you have a wide mix of people who are not professional actors and people who are professional actors. This feels like that kind of old movie. Some of the scares, quote unquote scares, or the bad stuff is pretty cheesy. But again, there's some genuinely great stuff here.
So I'll go ahead and just plant my flag down and say pretty much this whole movie worked for me. I liked it quite a bit. And yes, it is run a bit slower, but I like 70s films and I like this slower pace.
But like you said about like, there's no investigative, there's no like, let's talk about it.
But that's what I was into. I like that this wasn't going to be a movie about that. This movie's going to be about how would everybody react if everybody knew if it was a killer baby.
Right.
Forget like, oh, a killer baby, nonsense. That's not, forget that. That's not the point. The point is how would everybody react if there was a killer baby? That's what it's about.
See, but I think in the real world, people would be like, how, why, what, that kind of thing. And yes, that's the least amount of exploration.
Literally, with the exception of this one thing that everybody is accepting that it's a killer baby, I think actually the movie's pretty. You see like this father's like pretty complex reaction like through to my son is a monster and is running around the town killing people. I think probably more than the movie even deserves.
Right.
But yes, the one like leap of faith that you need to take with the movie is that everybody just accepts that it's a killer baby. But
kind of like if you go back and you actually watch them, like, well, not the first one, but like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just, these are fantastical things that are not real. But, I'm watching a horror movie. It's like, whatever. There are supernatural. There is whatever's going to happen. It's just that sometimes when movies are grounded, but this is not grounded at all. It feels like a grounded movie, but everyone just goes, oh, no, there's a magical horror baby that's on the loose killing people.
I just think Larry Cohen is most likely who gives a shit. Like, that's not the point, and let's get to the point.
And that's what I'm saying is that might be hard for some people to get past. But if you can, just enjoy the movie for what it is.
I'm going to spoil the beginning of the stuff for you. It's just the beginning, so
you don't have to.
Yeah, I do.
We can just keep talking about It's Alive.
Okay,
what?
It's kind of to this point. The opening of the stuff is
killer baby in a hospital room?
No, a guy walks into the frame and says, "What's that?" and points down out of the frame of the camera where you can't see, and then you get a point of view from his angle, and you see a bubbling white substance on the ground, and he sticks his finger in it and says, smells good, and then sticks it in his mouth and says, tastes good. That's how the stuff starts. So, and that's one of the greatest openings of all time.
Sounds
in my opinion.
like it.
Larry Cohen.
Well, I would disagree. There is another great opening in the world because the other night we were on. I decided we were going to watch the Louis C.K. special on Netflix, and my wife walked in because we were going to watch together. And he literally walks on stage. She goes, "So abortion," and she's laughing. She's like, "Wait, is that literally what he opened with?" And I'm like, "Yes." She's like, yeah, "That's a great opener."
Speaking of openings, love the opening in this movie because before everything that we talked about, the title sequence is, I thought, fantastic. I think Larry Cohen has an amazing knack for opening films, and I think it starts here. The stuff with the stuff is like funny. It's so funny and shocking, and the way that Q the Winged Serpent opens is pretty amazing as well. But this is actually very kind of artistic, very cool. If you don't recall, it's
actually like title cards and
it's all these lights in the darkness. And
you're gonna say the same thing that I wrote down. My notes have that too.
My notes say literally this in sequence: fireflies ? Space ? And then flashlights ? And then I kept expecting it to materialize into the thing that it was.
Right.
And it wasn't. It's not until the end of the movie where you can make sense out of what that imagery was.
The flashlights in the sewer?
Yeah, the flashlights in the sewer.
Oh. Well, that's not what it is, I don't think, though. Because,
what do you think it is?
He just said they were going to. So Larry Cohen being the indie legend, like you mentioned, like one of the things was he's a low budget filmmaker who knows how to make a movie on a low budget and save money. Part of his thing is I want to control everything that I do. They were going to send out, like the movie company was like, send it out to a title company. Like they'll create the opening credits and titles. And he said, no, we'll do it ourselves because I could save money. That was just them in a basement with flashlights, multiple takes, and then overlaid with each other to make it seem like more. We just pointed some lights around a room. That's it.
All right, well, it looked cool.
Yeah, no, it did. But it was kind of cool because the idea was, no, we just did it ourselves because he's like, it would have cost tons of money to have someone else do this.
Right.
He's like, I went down there, bought a couple flashlights and just did it and saved all the money,
Sure.
So that was, commentary-wise, that was my first inkling of like, oh, I see how he does it. His mindset is, well, I can do that. I don't need to do it this way or that way. That's why we're talking about like how he would direct it and what the idea of the movie is and how he approaches the idea of a monster. It's that, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it myself. This is all me,
There's just a the documentary is not out yet, but I've seen the trailer for it, and there's a clip where they're talking about they in Key the Wing and Serpent, they're up on the top of a giant skyscraper and they're shooting blank machine gun rounds, and the rounds are just falling down to the street, and people are panicking on the street. There's like a producer or PA who runs up and says, like, people are panicking right now in the streets because they think that there's like a hostage situation or terrorists or something at the top of this building. And he says, great, take a camera, go down there, shoot their reactions. I'm going to use that too.
Right. That sounds exactly like the way he talks.
So this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, the opening is really cool. It's a title sequence, so you get to see who worked on the movie, obviously, before the movie starts. And one of the couple of things that I noticed right away, Bernard Herrmann. This is one of the last scores that he did. If you're not familiar with him, he did a lot of the iconic scores for like Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So Psycho and
which he mentioned and said that he had some disagreement with Hitchcock at some point, and like they went their separate ways, and he just stopped.
Right.
And I guess that guy, Bernard Herrmann, he would give shit to everyone in Hollywood. He wouldn't take shit, and he would insult everybody. So that's why he didn't work for a while and whatever. And he said once he learned, Cohen said, like, I went and met him and everything like that, and he was very like, I'm going to do it this way. And he's like, good. I want you just to do it your way. Like, no input from me.
Right.
Take it, score it, do what you want. And he realized, when the guy's insulting you and everybody else, if you give it to him back, he'll like you.
Right.
So he's doing what I do. He talks shit about you, and if you can't take it, then he doesn't need to be around you. But if you're someone that could take it and knows it's all in good humor, you guys get along great.
Right.
So he actually became really good friends with him.
That's cool.
After knowing the story about how kind of everyone in Hollywood was like, don't deal with him. He's kind of an asshole. And he was like, well, I don't care. I want to try it. Turns out, no, he's great. You guys just don't get him, or kind of thing.
So I'd say that the Bernard Herrmann score is definitely something
which sucks because I don't remember any of the music.
It's not something that you would hum, but it's good. It's evocative. It's got kind of again, to me, old monster vibe to it. Even though this is 1974, to me, even though it does feel like a movie like 1974, like you were saying, Dawn of the Dead, to me it also feels a lot like an old, like 50s or 60s atomic era monster movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Well, if you think about it, you watch The Crazies.
Right.
And you look at kind of how The Crazies was shot, and you see Dawn of the Dead, and you kind of see a lot of similarities.
Well, it was directed by the same filmmaker.
Right, but I mean, like, the idea of, like, the way the rooms, they all felt like cheap sets.
Right.
Like, here's a blank wall behind somebody. We just filmed this in a room somewhere with a wall. We didn't decorate it. We didn't take time to do props. It's just like, hey, here's a door, in a room, just shoot this doorway.
Right.
We didn't think about actually building some great set. It was just take any empty office building you have and let's go shoot in there,
It's kind of when Tarantino made Death Proof and everybody went, there's nothing's happening. They're just talking. It's just, and then it's funny because then Robert Rodriguez did the Planet Terror side of it, which was the opposite. It was just constant, explosions and, all this crazy shit happening. And what Robert Rodriguez did was essentially make a movie like the trailers for exploitation movies, but Tarantino made an exploitation film.
Which is, when you go watch the original in the theaters and he has all those bad, cheap cuts with the film, and then you go buy it later on, it's like, well, we're just going to present it to you as we're going to get rid of all the, like, fun. You watch in the theater and the film or the projector was screwing up, right? When you take all that out and it's just a movie, it's a little bit, I would say it's easier to watch because then it becomes more boring. But when you first see it, when it first came out, it was, I don't know why we're talking about Grindhouse now, but I just remember like it was part of the joke. But then when you watch it without the jokey shit in it, that's when you can kind of go, maybe this is kind of slow. But you don't, of course, it's Tarantino. You know what he's doing.
Well, what I was working my way up to is that with these exploitation films, when you don't have any money, you're going to have to fill up a lot of your running time with talking.
Yeah.
And Larry Cohen is a good writer. I think his characters are very human. I think they feel very real. And I think if anybody else shot a scene with going into his public relations firm.
I wanted to get to that scene because that's probably one of the best jokes. In the movie, yes, but like just in movies in general, that was just a really good joke when the PR thing. Yeah. So another sign of the times, you watch a movie and the sensibilities of the 70s, like he goes, hey, you got a monster baby. The media's after you. They want to ask you questions. They're kind of ruining your life. Maybe you should not work here for a while because it looks bad on us, right? Hey, Bob down in accounting's got a retarded son.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now you're like, well, political correctness aside, it's just like you might say that, you might not say not, but why would anyone judge you because your son is quote unquote retarded? And here it's like, no, in the 70s, they're like, hey, you have a retarded son. That could make you look bad. Well, which, like, nowadays, one, you can't use that word. it is offensive, but two, why would anyone care? So it's weird to watch a movie that's so old that if you don't think about what it was like in that time period, you have to think about it differently. And also the way the characters talk. I mean, granted, they don't just come out saying the N-word or anything like that, but they are offensive in a way that it's just like, well, no one cared
Well,
back
those other
then.
movies they are.
Right. But the joke there was you could use a really good PR firm for this. And of course, they work at a PR firm. I just thought it was fucking great.
I don't think that's unintentional. I was listening to some interviews with him because I'm watching these movies and I'm just thinking, what are we satirizing? I mean, clearly we're satirizing media. We're satirizing just the way people react to things, the way they not witch hunt, but
Yeah, they are.
That's not the right word, but
It's before there was the 24-hour cable news thing. It was like the
sensationalism.
Yeah.
Everybody. There's a scene where there's just a baby, like just a regular baby, and all these cops show up with guns and stuff, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Oh yes,
and
yes.
then and it cuts. It's just this regular baby with a bunch of guns pointing in its face, like false alarm. It reminded me a lot of Jaws when the kids play the prank and they have the fake fin.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful shot where you see them and then you cut to what the kids are looking at because they're super shocked and it's just all these boats full of guys with rifles pointed at them. I don't think that stuff's unintentional.
Oh, but especially that scene because he really there were multiple angles where the guns came out. One's pointing directly at the camera. One's profile just gun, gun, gun. It was very very in your face. But it makes me think of the old Warner Brothers rule for Batman the Animated Series is you can't point a gun at the screen.
Right.
And they did, and they got away with it. They just point guns directly at the camera, knowing that the camera technically is a baby. It's pretty shocking. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Oh God, I'm losing all my points here. Oh shit. Anyway, so you were talking about the guy saying retarded.
Yeah.
But in these interviews, okay. My point was I was wondering if are these movies trying to say stuff about abortion? Is this a pro-life, pro-choice series of
Which
movies?
Very comes up in the delivery. No, after.
Well, they do bring it up.
Yes.
But I don't think that that's what it's about. And
when I said the progressive 70s, I think because what he says to the cop, because the cop goes well, it looks like you guys were looking into an abortion 8 months ago, and he goes, everybody does nowadays.
Right.
And I think it's a sign of the times that it is a accepted thing. Roe v. Wade, things like that. Now it's legal. Now you can't. It's not it's always going to be taboo in one way or another to somebody. But the idea was that you can't give a shit about it because it's not common, but it's in the public discourse. It is legal. We can do it. It's our choice now because before that it was a thing. You've only got it done because of this or because your kid might be retarded and it's an evil thing in that world,
So,
and here it's, hey man, just because we looked into it, we're older, we already have a kid. It's our choice. It's not so much because there's some stigma with or a kid might come out with some disability that we don't want someone to look at us differently because we're not perfect,
The way that Larry Cohen, at least in interviews, views this movie, I don't know if I can speak for the whole series, is he compares it to Elephant Man, David Lynch's Elephant Man, or other movies like that. I mean, obviously Frankenstein gets brought up in It's Alive, so he is fitting this more into the misunderstood monster genre.
Yeah.
And the key to that. Now, when you get to the second movie, I think that you cannot possibly not get away from pro-choice, pro-life stuff, and we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Right.
But in this one, the father has a scene where he's talking about, that book Frankenstein. I read that in high school. Before I read it, though, I always thought Frankenstein was just the monster.
Right.
But it wasn't until you read the book that you learn it's the doctor that makes him. So it's this whole muddying the waters in terms of who's the monster, us or the monster kind of thing.
Right. But I also thought it was kind of cool because it cuts the idea of when someone's feeding you the message and you're not getting it yourself, someone's judging it for you, meaning when you go watch the movie, you're told Frankenstein is the monster, but that's someone else skewing the original vision of what someone created.
Right.
Whereas the original creation was, no, it's the doctor. You know, and if you don't go explore that yourself, if you don't, I guess you could say not psychologically, but kind of do a little introspective thinking, critical thinking. If you just take what everything is at word value, meaning the media goes, hey, you got a monster baby, something must be fucking wrong with you, and you realize, no, it's this thing that's happening. We didn't do anything.
Well, once I heard that, I tapped into that. Everything clicked into place because if you go back to the scene where he's waiting in the lobby with the other fathers, there's the guy there who's the exterminator.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote this down. He says, we're slowly but surely poisoning yourselves. You know that? And then the father says, fine world to bring our kid into, fellas.
And then he also mentions that we've created super bugs. He said, what's the worst thing about, with LA or Hollywood? He's like,
smog and
he said snails and slugs or whatever.
snails and slugs, right? Yeah.
And all we do is poison them, but then we've created a super race that is resistant to the poison that's getting stronger.
Exactly.
It lays the groundwork for then, is this the human evolution? Is this possibly a new race of people?
Right. So according to Larry Cohen, if there's any science to be had in this movie, if you consider science fiction horror film, it's that we have created such a gnarly atmosphere. We've created such a gnarly world in terms of the dangers and the poisons and the war and all the dangers around you, that nature created a mutation, something that could actually survive in such a hostile environment.
Right.
And when we were faced with our creation, this thing that we made, whether we did it intentionally or not, our first reaction is to kill it.
Hit it with fire! Fire!
Yeah. So the Frankenstein thing is apt. However, the pro-choice, pro-life thing kind of comes into play in the second one, because at the same time you're seeing these people that are running around trying to save the baby, and they seem awfully a little. You could argue it's a little bit hypocritical that they're like, oh my God, this life is precious, even this baby, even though it's going to kill 15, 20 fucking people before the end of the movie. But again, we'll get to that. Okay.
Yes, there is quite a bit of symbolism, but it's not black and white, because there's the idea that someone says I know it's a monster, but it is my kid. So when it comes down time to do I pull the trigger on it? It is my child. I don't know. I don't want to just judge this because it scares me. So it's. But at the same time, I think it might need to die. It is a mix between of I want to let it live because it's my kid versus no, it should be murdered because it's different and it's dangerous. But there is a gray area,
right?
And it explores the gray area quite a bit, actually.
So.
Because he's on the fence the whole movie on what he really wants out of it. He lets on that, kill it, I don't care. But then, of course, as he has to become the executioner, when you actually have to face reality and you let someone else pull the trigger for you, all of a sudden, it's not so easy.
So I think that...
Who wants to shoot a baby?
The Larry Cohen movies that I've seen, and this is certainly more clear in It's Alive 3, but he is all about social commentary. He's all about satire. He's constantly, the stuff is about consumerism. Q the Winged Serpent has a lot to do with racism.
Yeah.
So there's certainly things going on in here, but I do think that the main driving force behind it is a misunderstood monster movie with a sympathetic father at the middle of it.
At the same time, there's no if you're nice to the monster, it might
the father, yes.
There's some semblance of hey, put the guns away. I mean, especially in the third one too. Maybe if you aren't so hostile to it, it won't just kill you. But then other times it's no, it's gonna kill you.
I think that they just can't coexist with people at all. But that's the conundrum. Is that just because it can't coexist? You know what I mean? Is that our fault? It's just simply doing what it does.
What we're doing to it, it's doing to us.
Right.
Exactly. So now that we've gotten all the philosophical discussion,
let's talk about the actual movie.
Let's talk about the movie itself. So, we start off, she's pregnant. Go to the hospital, have the baby, kills all the doctors. That was a real hospital room they shot in, that they had an emergency and someone actually had to deliver a baby in that room before they actually shot the scene to deliver the baby. All shot in L.A. area.
Yeah, a very L.A. movie.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I wasn't alive in the 70s, but you watch something like Grease and you watch things like that where L.A. River scenes, you see a lot of not landmarks, but architecture that's very reminiscent of, late 19th century, or mid to late 19th century, 20th century, 1900s, Los Angeles.
You still see Los Angeles style bungalow homes, suburban, front yards and things. And in the LA River, if you grew up in this area at all, that stuff is going to be immediately, it's going to resonate with you immediately.
It's a very urban environment. It's not like this is a big open, out in the Midwest. This is very much in the city, concrete. Where does a killer baby go when you don't have a forest or woods? In a lot of horror movies, you just, it's off in the woods somewhere. We've been talking a lot about Twin Peaks. You have a lot of open area. This is no, man, it went in the sewers. It's in that bush behind someone's house. It kills the milkman who's delivering the milk and shit, So it's a very cool looking movie.
Oh, I loved the milkman scene.
I just wrote my notes, milk delivery scene.
That was great.
Anyways, baby gets away. They interrogate the parents a little bit, say, hey, any radiation, any drugs, whatever. And no, so everyone just goes, it's a monster baby, as if that's a thing, Yeah, monster babies, you got a monster baby. It's not. My wife asked me, is that the Omen? Is it possessed? Is it a demon? I'm like, no, it's actually just a mutated baby, I guess.
It's a xenomorph.
Yeah.
It's very aggressive thing that runs around killing people.
Yeah, it kills some hook. What he referred to as a hooker on her way home in the morning.
Yeah.
Because if you look at her clothes, it doesn't really make any sense. Kills a milkman and then ends up I forgot where it goes from there. It
runs around killing people.
Yeah.
At one point, it's in the school, and they go to try to
but
get
at
into school.
nighttime, there's no kids there.
Right, there's no kids.
Kills a bunch of police officers, and it's actually searching out its family.
Right. It has a strong homing instinct.
Yes, it's actually looking for its brother, not
Right.
its parents at first. Which
Who's been shipped off to a neighbor's house
I think it's like his uncle.
or something.
Yeah, his uncle's watching them while they had the baby, and then he's like, "You can't come home right now because, your mom's not feeling too good."
And they keep them away from the televisions. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's also we forgot about the pharmaceutical guys.
the people that want to buy the corpse. Was that?
Oh,
Oh,
so
no, right. So they want to make sure. So this is the kind of stuff that plays into the stuff later.
But this is also really good because, this is, like I said, this is 1974.
Right.
This is social commentary that still is going on today. The kind of RoboCop type of shit, right?
So what's their deal was they want to make sure they want to get a lid on this because they don't want it to like come out that their
drug
drugs
caused
this.
Yeah.
Right. That's so funny.
Like he said, we want the university, like the scientist guys are like, we want the corpse so we can study and figure out whatever.
Right.
He's like, when you guys find it, don't leave a corpse. Just fucking demolish this thing because we don't want them to be able to study it.
Right.
We don't want them to find out what it is.
Right. So there's a little bit of espionage going on, but it
Yeah.
doesn't come out at all that much.
But it just makes you think about like the big pharma and everything like that. Like the idea that the power struggle here is like, why the fuck are the pharmaceutical guys have any sway here? But because they got money.
Right.
So
I forgot to mention when we were talking about the title sequence. So Bernard Herrmann, also Rick Baker, worked on this movie.
Yes.
And I think that's evident. I think that this does stand apart from some other monster movies because one, very, very intelligently hide this monster.
they should have.
Almost. Oh, I love the shots of the monster. I love the shots of the monster. They're sparing because they knew that they could only get away with so much, which was smart. But I like the look of it, man. It creeped me fuck out.
I would say I got mixed reactions because it looks a little ridiculously silly,
Oh, I'm into it.
but it's also kind of creepy in a weird way. But the problem is, it varies in size depending on what
Sure,
angle it's
sometimes it's a little baby, and that's because you have a person. So you have probably different things. You have a prosthetic,
Yeah.
or an actual, not animatronic, but a practical effect, and then you have somebody in a suit,
Yeah.
somebody with makeup on, and that's the stuff that I was into, was the makeup effects.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was pretty cool.
It looks a lot like the Itchy and Scratchy when Scratchy gets like a big head with veins in it.
Yeah, it's big head, big fangs.
Or Itchy. Which one's the cat? Scratchy, right? Itchy's the mouse.
Itchy's the I don't know.
Someone's gonna be like screaming, like, God, how do you not fucking know which one? But yeah, there's the one like in the future, and they got the big pulsating heads.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Green Lantern guy.
Right.
What are they called?
Sinestro.
Yeah, there you go.
What? Green.
Didn't they have a big head with like
Who?
veins in it?
Who has a big head of veins?
Sinestro.
What did you say?
Or-
Green Lantern?
Yeah, isn't there like one
Did
of the?
you see that shitty movie with what's his face? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about like the animated and the comic stuff.
Yeah, you're probably Sinestro. I think had like a. No, he didn't have a big head. I don't know who you're talking about.
Like there's the council, and don't they have like guys with big heads?
I'm a nerd. Those are the Guardians.
The Guardians
Yeah,
have like a
the
big
blue
pulsating.
guys.
Yes,
The white hair. Yeah, those are the Guardians.
Okay,
The Guardians
so-
of Oa.
Yeah, they look like that, bald and
Yeah.
tan.
I don't know. I thought it was cool. The scenes where they're in the school and there's that. It's like crawling around on the floor, along the floor, knocking all the kids' toys out of the way and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. The effects work for me. Obviously,
Okay, well, when that first lady dies,
that was bad.
it shows.
I agree that was not the best.
You never saw I Am Omega, but that's a mockbuster, I think, based off I Am Legend.
Right.
So that was who's the not the kung fu guy, but the Iron Chef.
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Iron Chef.
No, not Iron.
Dacascos? Mark Dacascos?
Mark Dacascos. Yeah, he was in that movie where he plays like the last man alive, whatever. I remember that I told you there was a scene where he goes into the city and there's like zombie things, and he starts shooting the gun, and it literally cuts to like stock footage of someone firing a gun that's you can tell is literally not even anywhere near where they were shooting the scene previously. When they goes to kill that hooker lady, and they show that close up of him on the camera, it's not even the same location.
No.
And that also makes it. It shows up in the third movie too. There's like that shot, and it's just like, what? That was really bad.
There's scenes later where they put it in the darkness, and I think it works.
It just sucks because that's the first time you see it.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I agree.
If that had been used later as a bad shot, it's the first time.
I think I remember going like, ooh, a little bit during that part, but I still like the makeup. I kind of want to talk. I kind of want to talk about the end. Not the end, but I mean the sewer, essentially the sewer sequence.
So, I mean, I get it. So it finds its brother. They try to find it. It goes back to its home. It ends up in the basement of the parents' house. And the mom, it comes home when he's out, and the mother has actually been like secretly feeding it meat and milk.
Yeah, I mean, she's been going slowly insane, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
And,
that's actually a really good scene when she first comes home to see her, and she's kind of like nutty, but he doesn't seem to like.
the mothers and fathers' performances. I think the actor's name is John Ryan. They were great. I think that I wouldn't be the only person to say I don't think that John Ryan, or if that's who he is, that actor, the main actor's performance is probably like way more invested than the movie even deserves.
Right.
I think it's great. It's he runs the gamut of emotions. He has very subtle reactions to things. I think I don't know who that guy is, but from what I understand, he's actually like a pretty cool character actor from that time, and I'd like to see other movies with him.
He does that really good impression in the beginning in the car. Hey, you kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the mom,
And her too. I thought she had a great performance. I thought very believable.
because she kind of just
Because if
comes off
a
as,
baby came out of you and then killed everybody, that would be a pretty gnarly thing to deal with.
and they keep trying to like, just take the drugs, take the pills that we gave you, just go back to bed, you know.
Right.
And they're treating her very much like a woman.
I forgot. So this is the one point where the nurse that's supposed to be attending to her, and again another kind of like fun social commentary thing where she's like, "What is that in your hand?" And she's got a tape recorder. She's trying to get her to talk about it because she wants to write a book.
Yeah.
About the whole thing, get close and write a book. So there's kind of that sensationalism aspect to it there as well. So yes, like you said, the monster baby shows up at the house, and the father fends it off. He tries to shoot it with a gun. I think he hits it.
Yeah.
And it gets away.
Kills his brother.
He kills the neighbor brother
Or the
whoever
uncle
it is.
guy, yeah.
Yeah. And now at this point, they're saying, "Oh, we think it's using the sewer system to get around. That must be how it's getting around so fast. So let's flush it out of the sewer." And now you get your L.A. River set piece, which I thought all this stuff, I just maybe I've been 50-50 on the movie at this point, where I'm like, I'm enjoying this, but you know, it's old and everything that we kind of talked about. But I love the sewer sequence so much that I'm like, I fucking love this movie.
No, I'm surprised. I mean, I was gonna say that the L.A. River scene, like this, the same place they shot Grease, and it's the same place you see a lot of car commercials shot in, a lot of like chases. I've driven over those bridges a bunch of times driving to and from L.A. for work. It's a place you can see, like I said, being in L.A., you can see that quite often. It's quite iconic, so it's kind of funny when you see it because it's in a lot of movies and stuff. It's just another movie where I've been somewhere like, hey, they shot a movie there, because I seem to do that a lot. But it feels a lot like Them. I don't remember when they go in the sewers, because it's not like, hey, I'm trying to think like a sewer, like Return of the Living Dead Part 3. I'll bring that one in.
There you go.
You know, when they go in the sewer and it's like there's the walls and the this and the water, and there's like a place over here where a homeless person's living. No, they're literally just like pitch black tunnels that are just like, you know, there's shit and water flowing to the bottom. There's no fun architecture. There's nothing interesting. They're just scary, dark tunnels.
And I thought that was amazing about it, because you took that darkness, because you clearly they shot in there. None of that stuff was sets. They went into the LA sewer, and
not only they went in, they drove police cars in.
That's what makes it cool, because there's a shot where he just mounts a camera on top of the police car, the squad car, and it's right out of like the beginning of Naked Gun. I don't know if you remember the and makes its way in there, and so it's very surreal, because in this pitch blackness you have these flashing red lights.
Yeah, and it's not even red and blue; it's all red.
It's all red. And I was just so into that. And there's these shots later of the monster that to me were the makeup, the special effects work the most, because it's the most, you know,
half in darkness
and all this kind of stuff. But it's also a very surreal thing, and it really worked, man. They're like walking by it and they don't even see it, because it's kind of just sitting quietly, like watching everybody as they go by and stuff.
That would have been a really good scene in like Alien. You know, it's dark, but you have the flashing light illuminating the scene every like half second.
Very much reminding me of Alien, which would have come after this, by the way.
Let me say, Cohen actually says in the commentary, his optimal horror movie of all time is Alien.
Which didn't come out until 1979.
Right.
So
yeah, he without even seeing Alien, because Alien didn't exist yet.
Who knows? But I wouldn't be surprised if Ridley Scott saw this. I mean, it's... But
I mean, it's just funny because you mentioned, like, it feels like a good scene
from the first... It's a strobe light effect that Alien, when you think of the strobe light effect in a horror film, Alien's probably number one.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole last 20 minutes of the movie. It's hard. That is the most iconic thing. So seeing that here, you know, as a movie that predates it by 5 years is kind of interesting.
Right. And then he mentioned that, like, I mean, granted, the commentary was recorded in the 2000s at some point, that once he saw Alien, he was like, that's what a horror movie is.
Yeah.
So to see parallels between them is kind of interesting, you know?
A couple other things. Felt very Cronenberg, also very pre-Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Just body horror kind of stuff. Not quite body horror, but
Some.
I mean, just the idea of it's exploitation, but it's a very specific kind of exploitation because it's literally like your worst fear. And later movies, obviously all kinds of movies, including Alien, get into the idea of the horror of impregnation and what's inside me and what could it be and all that kind of stuff.
Well, because not so much in this one, but the other ones. In the sequels, that kind of comes up more because the idea that like this, they had no idea, but now after we get into the sequel, it's kind of like everyone's scared they're gonna have a monster baby.
But it's exploiting your worst fear in the sense, again, that go back to that first 15 minutes that are so sweet and so nice, and you love these people, and it's like, oh, they're gonna have a baby, and you're gonna have a little baby brother, and like this whole thing, and then, oh, what's the worst thing you can imagine happening? Okay, you didn't have enough of imagination. Okay,
Right.
What if this? You're right. That's actually the worst thing that could possibly happen. So. Yeah.
So leading up to this, the husband father is, I'm gonna kill this thing myself. He's like the police chief guy basically says like, you feel like you need to be the one to do it, and kind of. But of course, when he gets up to it, he can't, and he loves it, and he picks it up and he holds it.
And that could be such a. Again, I don't know how you feel about it, but that scene worked for me, and I think it's completely due to that guy's performance.
I will tell you that is it the second one or the third one? It's the one where it's the second one. Where I think again, so now that I've been through childbirth and I have kids, and it's so stereotypical to like, oh, once you have kids, your outlook changes, and what people have kids, but when you have your own, it's different. Yes, a million fucking times when you have your own kid and you hold them for the first time, and you just like I cried both my kids being born, like no idea I had those emotions. Didn't feel like that because your childbirth, you're just like, oh my god, my wife's in pain. I'm doing all these things, and nurse this and that. There's blood everywhere. The second that a baby was born, lost everything, just flushes out of your body, it's gone, and you're just like, you're crying. So not so much the first one, but in the second one, when she makes him hold it, and he goes from feeling like this thing is a monster, this is not my child, I don't want anything to do with this is just a deformity, to he realizes it doesn't matter, it's still like my flesh and blood. I know what that, not that I had a monster baby, but I know what that feels like, where it's like, before it comes out of the mother, it's just this thing you talk about. The second that it's a real, physical, tangible object that you can actually hold, wow. No matter what you thought about if you didn't want a kid or did, or what you think fatherhood's going to be like, all of it out the window is so different when they just go, here's your baby.
Right.
And it is a very, very heartfelt thing. So in the second movie, I reacted very highly to that scene where, not so much the first one when he sees it, but I get what they were going for. I think the guy in the second movie did a better job of it, of selling that idea.
Right.
So... It's funny because my 2 cents in this whole thing is that a lot of it's just to be like, what's it like to have a child being born?
I get it.
And that is the most impactful thing in my entire life. I can't talk about that enough. It's just how much having kids changed my life. And they were all planned, by the way. It's not like I had a kid by an accident and my life changed.
Right.
I planned my kids.
For this,
I'm better than you because I have kids.
Yeah. Fuck. That's not the first time I ever heard that from you.
All you have is a cat with herpes.
2 cats with herpes.
They both have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're with each other.
I figured one gave it to the other, right?
Yeah.
Your dirty cats.
It'd be nice if like some of our listeners are actually like own cats and they're just like, yeah, it's not a big deal. Like,
no, they don't own cats because people who own cats are gross. I had cats growing up. I just don't like them anymore. I'm a dog person. Anyways,
I like this movie. Oh, you want to talk about how it ends?
And then you seem to be touched by the ending. So
well, I work for me because again, up until this point, the way he described it as a misunderstood monster movie, I wasn't really there with it. It just kind of seemed like it's just a killer. It's a fucking scary ass monster that's killing people. So I was really actually surprised by this turn of character in terms of, oh no, you're my son, and I'm going to get you out of here.
Well, also the fact that after and also these babies are smarter than a baby. They seem to understand.
Right. And he comes out of the sewer, and the entire police department is there with shotguns and rifles and stuff trained on him, and he's got to have his whole moment of he's harmless, it's fine. Look, he's fine. He's not going to hurt anybody.
But you're scaring him,
right? You're scaring him, but there's no way that this isn't going to end. This is still that mob with torches and pitchforks at the end of Frankenstein, and of course the baby makes the decision for him by leaping out of his hands. Yeah.
So when we brought up the pharmaceutical guy, why that was important is because that guy's like, shoot it, kill it, whatever.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the dad threw the baby at that guy.
I guess you can interpret it either way.
I'm pretty sure he threw it at that guy because that guy was being an asshole.
So attack my child.
And then in the process, like you said, the pitchforks, we know they're going to kill the kid. The kid's not going to live. But if I can take out this asshole in the process who has made this more hellish than it needed to be, win-win, right?
I guess I don't
Because the
think
cops
that's
just
what happened.
open fucking fire on him and the baby and kill the other guy.
Once it lands on him, then they
Right.
open fire, kill the pharmaceutical guy and the child. But the real end of this movie, the real cincher, is mother and father in the back of the police cab. They're being taken back to the house, and the officer in the front seat says he gets off the horn and says another one was just born in Seattle.
Right.
So to set up sequels, but also that again back to the why was this just like a random surreal happenstance? No, it's slightly science fiction. He's saying that because we fucked up our world so good in such a hostile environment that we're going to continue to see these things that are more hostile than even we are.
Which is interesting because there's no difference between the two. Like one that's born in LA and one that's born in Seattle both come out exactly the same.
Exactly,
so
right.
That's not how actual mutation would work, but whatever.
So I'll say I like this movie a lot. If they release this like they've done with the Stuff or whatever, Scream Factory or whatever,
Scream Factory
it's a
Blu-ray.
day one buy for me. I would like to see a nice cleaned up version of it, even though the version that we saw was
looked really good.
was pretty decent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a DVD that has.
This is a good buy, by the way. It's like less than $10 or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. You can get all 3 movies on one disc. I think the first movie's on one side, and then 2 movies on the other side.
Right.
But it looked pretty good for being a DVD. Even in 2017 high def TVs, it looked decent. So
let's talk about It's Alive 2.
okay, so
No?
so there's 2, 3, and 4. Now 2 and 3 are all Larry Cohen, like we said, and everything. But honestly, the first, it's just like with a lot of horror movie franchises. The first movie is the one that we talk the most about, and then we kind of go through the second and third one and the end of the last.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to just quickly puff through the third one, but
I mean, there's a lot to say about the other 2 movies, but they're not going to hold as much. We spent a lot of time on the first one.
I'm going to
Don't
argue that
expect
the third one is a fucking stone cold classic, but we'll I guess we'll get to it when we get there.
All right. So It's Alive 2. It's
Still alive? Or no, still living.
It lives again.
It lives again.
It's actually, according to my media server, it's not called It's Alive 2. It's just called It Lives Again.
It lives again, yeah. But it's more fun to say, hey, this weekend I'm going to watch It's Alive 2, It Lives Again, and It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive.
Yeah, I was going to say Island of the Dead, but yeah, it's Island of the Alive.
Yeah. And
Which
if
is a
people
really
go,
weird.
What? And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be amazing. So this is the Aliens to It's Alive's Alien.
Yeah.
And even Cohen said as much. He basically said, well, we barely showed the monster in the first one, so we felt like we owed, show the audience more this time around.
Which let me, if I took this correctly from, I didn't quite get all the facts, but when the first movie came out, it did not do well. It did bad in focus testing. They didn't release it very much. Whatever, it kind of was a bleh.
Yeah, they didn't release it really, and then I got a re-release later.
Well, it's funny because he mentions that when you start shooting a movie and you shoot with freedom because you're low budget, no one will bother you. No one will check your dailies because they don't care. Your budget's too low. They don't care what you're doing. You do whatever you want. He's like, that's why I kind of like doing low budget stuff. But by the time you make the movie and you finish it, the guy who was in charge of distribution or the head of the president is no longer the president anymore. Some other team. They don't even know what you were doing because they're like, wait, what movie did you shoot? We weren't here before. So that didn't go over well. But then, of course, it comes back around again. Those people leave and someone else comes in. They see his movie that's been sitting on the shelf for 3 years, or not sitting on the shelf, but didn't do good. And they say, hey, it just needs a new marketing spin on it.
I mean, it basically was sitting on the shelf because they barely gave it any distribution the first time around. And then it went through multiple, like you said, multiple changes in establishment. And then one finally, was able to bend his ear. And
well, you said basically it was marketed incorrectly the first time. They said you should actually play it up.
Because it did really well when it was distributed correctly.
Which
it did really well.
We're 4 years later because 3.5 years after the first one, also all of a sudden did really good. So now we have a sequel.
Right.
So that's the kind of a weird how we got to this point.
So this one's less of a scary horror movie. It's more of
an exploration into what this universe is.
It just continues extrapolating the world building, I guess, aspects of it. There are more babies being born. And more attempts to snuff out these babies as soon as they're born. But now the really interesting wrinkle in this film is there is a la resistance. There is a bunch of pro-life activists that are running around trying to save these babies, including the father from the first film, who this film opens with another family, another nice couple that are expecting a child. I really liked its opening scene. It felt very real. There was a whole point where they're like,
It's a baby shower.
There's so much damn food. Can somebody, will you guys please eat this?
Yeah.
You never hear anybody say that in a movie, but like it's a very real thing. Like when you go to family gatherings and stuff.
Yeah, we open on a baby shower, and he's there, and she's like, "Who's that? Do you know this guy? I thought it was somebody else." And then once everyone leaves, they have the conversation.
And he tries to warn them about what happened to him is going to happen to them. It has to do with science. I don't know. It's not really explained, but he says that through various, things, chemicals, whatever patterns, they know that you have a high likelihood of having one of these creature babies,
Monster babies.
and in fact, they're watching you right now. You're under surveillance, and he points them outside. Say, like, see that guy?
Yeah.
Or he works for an agency, and this whole
Your
thing.
doctor is one of the guys. He's not your doctor. You can't trust him.
And he doesn't convince them. I mean, they listen to him, but he's also kind of like, get the fuck out of our house. But later, when she's having the baby and she sees all the police, they're at the hospital, and she sees all these police.
They get a goddamn convoy escorting them to the hospital.
And she gets freaked out. She gets real paranoid, the mother, and starts thinking that maybe he's right. And there she goes into the delivery room.
Well, it's not even that they don't believe him. Is that, again, the dad's kind of like, well, if it's a monster baby, we should snuff it
They
out.
also, I think he tried to get a hold of him and couldn't because...
They played phone tag, and they missed each other each by about a
because
minute.
there's no cell phones back then.
Right.
No message machines or anything. So they played phone tag and they missed, right. Because he's busy making sure that the semi-truck outfitted with a... delivery room in the back in a cage is up to snuff. So when she's
You like
delivering...
using that word snuff a lot, don't you?
We're going to say that instead of stuff. Not stuff, snuff. So when the baby is about to be born, and you can see the doctor has a revolver in his hands, and they're going to shoot this kid as soon as it comes out. The father from the previous film comes in, saves the day, takes the doctor hostage, and says, "We're going to take this woman out of here." At some point, somebody uses the words, "We're protecting this woman's right to have a baby."
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
On a megaphone. And he walks him out with a gun. All these cops, guns drawn on him, but he's got the hostage. So they're like, "We're taking her," and they take her out to this truck and get her on board and drive off. And they're going to have this...
and deliver the baby while driving.
on the truck. And there's a whole thing where they switch trucks in a tunnel to give them the slip and this whole thing.
Which at this point separates the mother and the father.
Right.
And the father goes with the baby to the secret lair where they have the other babies.
Right.
And which is, you think the mother would go? Like, you think you take the mother and the baby together, but maybe she was like recuperating after this procedure. I don't know.
I thought it was just to kind of keep them separate in case one of them gets caught, or I don't know. Maybe
Right, but you think the mother would go with the baby and the father would, the father doesn't seem too happy about any of this stuff, so whatever.
And yeah, so we have this resistance set up in this big, I don't know, mansion. It kind of almost looks like Larry Cohen's house, because the interview that I was watching is actually at his house. I'm like, this kind of looks like the house from the second one.
Yeah.
And there's like tennis courts and a big pool. And so I don't really know what that was supposed to be.
It's just up like in the Hollywood Hills kind of thing.
Yeah. And
did they mention like Mulholland Drive, or they mentioned a couple of really famous? Have you ever watched like the Californians on SNL? It took the
405 to the 210 to the...
I took a gut off on La Brea Avenue. They used three street names which are very much like, oh yeah, that's L.A.
You want to take over from here? There's a doctor who thinks that these babies can be like reintegrated or naturalized to human beings,
or to be at least taught and be intelligent and maybe whatever. But they're also kind of dicks, so then they're like, "Shut up, babies!
Yeah,
stop making so much noise." Which
still have them in cages.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's like, "No, they won't attack me when I take them out. They can feel when the mother comes by. They get agitated if someone comes around that they don't trust. I mean, you get a lot more of the." Like the science, you're right, the science behind it all, I guess, which sometimes maybe you explore too much.
Right.
And maybe you should leave it all to mystery, but in this case, you don't get to explore too much because eventually they all break out and kill people, I guess.
The father's arc in this one is kind of the opposite. He starts from a place of kind of accepting and my child deserves to live. And
No. He starts out with destroy it. I don't like it. Or
no, that's not
I'm
true.
not too happy with this. I mean, even when he sees them, they tell you like
right, but he's still going along with this resistance movement or whatever.
Right, but he's not. When he goes in the room and sees the babies, they said they can feel your fear. They can feel that you don't trust them.
Right, but that's the beginning of what I was going to say is him, or at least going to a place of uneasy acceptance to not really into it. I think really the breaking point is that he doesn't get laid by his wife the day after she's had a child.
No, okay, so And when she comes and she finally gets there, or she doesn't come, when she gets there, he wants to hug her because they've been away from each other for a while, and all this stuff's going on. It's crazy. And she's like, I can't do it. And he's like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. I just want to hug my wife. I've been lonely. I kind of felt bad because but she's going through a lot.
Yeah, and that was kind of, you recognize. I thought that was another very real human thing where you see a couple that's
like this might tear us apart.
Just not, that you may have gone through something that can't be that maybe is irreparable.
Even if no matter how strong a relationship is, this is something about it.
These are kind of the strengths of these movies. Even though they're movies about killer babies, you end up still talking about the scenes where a couple may not get back together.
It's the most of the movie actually. Like you said, we just a lot of talking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, having kids and they always go test your marriage. I'm like, oh yes, it does. And because no one's perfect, no one's going to come and actually do all the things after having a kid, but. Definitely life is different afterwards. So you can imagine if you have a monster baby and I think it's really because he isn't too happy about having the monster baby. He kind of wants to just go on with his life and if fine, let the cops take it and get rid of it. But like you said, yeah, he kind of comes around and then that scene exists later on where they all break out. The police have figured out, where they are because the mother's mother
put a tracking device in her purse.
That bitch, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
They have a scene earlier in the movie where she's kind of, like, pissy with her mom, and her mom's kind of a bitch. And then after that, you're like, oh, fuck that bitch. I hope the baby's killed grandma. Fuck her.
Yeah.
So they find him, so they're closing in on the house. And then, of course, in the process, the babies get agitated because they know that people are coming. They can feel it, so they end up getting broken out, killing people, and it all goes crazy.
John Ryan, the father from the first film, tries to escape with one.
And he's doing a good job until the night watchman, some fucking night
security guard guy,
sees him and points a gun at him, and the baby kind of goes crazy and kills him.
Yeah,
which you're like, hey, but the baby won't kill him. But then you go back to the whole thing is they can be okay, but in the rest of society, when people don't treat them right, you put them in a corner, they're gonna attack, even attack allies.
Right. I don't remember how this movie ends.
I was bummed to see him go because I thought he would be like the force that goes through the series. There's the scene then where the mother has her baby and she's telling they use him as bait. They put him in a house. Out. They take another house.
Okay,
they put the parents in a house together and say it will come to you.
The kids playing hide and seek, and
we're surrounding the area. Once it gets there, dial 7 on the phone. We'll come in under 4 minutes and we'll get it.
They try to gas him. They put like the okay, I remember now.
But of course they find it and don't dial the cops, or she pretends to.
Right.
And then she makes her husband hold the baby, and he breaks down crying, going like, this is my baby. I don't want to kill it. But at that point, the cops figured out something that the window's open or some shit, so let's just go gas them all until they die. And then the doctor just walks into the house with the gun while there's a tent on the house. I don't know what his whole thing was. He's like, go away, you can escape now, but I'm going to kill the baby? Why would... I don't
remember.
Because he walked in, he's like, if you go out the kitchen right now, you could get away. But he's not going to let the baby get away. But the cops aren't going to arrest the parents. I don't know why he's saying get away. I don't know. But what happens?
How does it end?
Well, that guy, the doctor gets killed by the baby, and then the dad has to kill it. The father has to pull the trigger, and the mom says it's okay. I think like they kind of see what happens, and they're like, no, we do have to kill it.
So again,
I actually wrote they find it, love it, have to kill it, and then I'll get to the second. I don't want to say that part yet.
And then I remember.
Hey, there is a big movie plot hole here. Okay.
Oh, in this
I have to bring this up. This pissed me off. This is bad. You suck. She goes to get a call. Says go to the movies at 8:00. Walk out the emergency exit or like the exit at 8:15, and we'll pick you up on a city bus and take you to this place. She goes to watch Enter the Dragon.
Oh yeah, I forgot Bruce Lee's in this movie.
Yeah, Bruce Lee's in the movie. He's starring in the movie. He's beating the shit out of the dudes in the caves. If this movie started at 8:00, that does not happen by 8:15. That is longer than 15 minutes into the movie. That does not make sense to me.
That's pretty funny.
At 15 minutes in the movie, he's still on a boat talking to people and being on the island talking philosophy. He's not in the underground layer yet.
So and then correct me if I'm wrong.
Sorry, there's another scene before that when she's at the market and the lady comes out from the market saying there's a call for you on the pay phone.
Right.
How
would you know?
Who answered the payphone? But anyways, since I had the subtitles on when I'm watching the movie, she walks over to pick up the phone, and the subtitle for the movie just goes phone. like I didn't fucking know that's a phone, but the subtitles don't tell you what the physical thing is, but for some reason it just says phone. I don't know. It made me laugh.
So the father in this movie takes up the role of the father from the first movie,
Yes.
where he's now trying to find couples.
Because at the end
talk
of
to
this
them
movie,
about
he's
their-
in San Francisco, and this
Right.
couple's walking across the street, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Eugene. You don't know me, but you're gonna have a monster baby.
Right.
You want to come with me?" And that's the end.
So I still like this one. I don't think I think it's definitely the weak link in the whole trilogy.
Oh,
Oh well, I love the third one.
there's things about the third one, but oh man, that movie.
But it's it to me it's like it's a not as good version of the first one. So,
Right.
But I did enjoy the just the kind of world building, like the resistance
Yeah.
fighters or whatever. That whole thing was interesting that they're continuing to extrapolate on it, and they're going to extrapolate further in It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive.
So so before we finalize 2, I'll just say this. Not that I was bored. Not that I was... I mean, these movies are slow enough that you could be doing something else while you're watching these movies. I have to admit, like the second half of the movie, I was just on Instagram just browsing everything bored. Kind of like, whatever, while watching the movie. I'll say this happened with the third one. I ended up watching a lot of porn on my tablet while watching the third movie. Just bored, browsing, I don't know. Nothing's going on. I'll just look at this.
Well, I think it's a sin that you watch this wonderful, golden, amazing Michael Moriarty movie.
If that just tells you anything about maybe where these movies have gotten to.
Got it.
So the third movie.
The third movie's amazing.
I stopped taking notes.
Okay.
I have no notes for the third or fourth movie.
So the third movie has the best opening in the entire franchise.
I will agree with
and
that.
it's one of the best movie openings. It's a damn good movie opening. It's what I was saying earlier. Larry Cohen knows how to open a fucking movie. So this one is a taxi cab, and there's a lady in the back of the guy's taxi, and she's like,
Oh, yes, I
she's
forgot
like
about that
she's like going into labor, and he's like, oh, holy shit, you having a baby? And he gets out of the car to see if he can help, opens the door, looks inside, and it's like, okay, it's coming out. Oh God, sees that it's one of them, knows that that's like it's one of these monster babies, pulls out a gun.
No, you totally missed. You didn't watch this movie, did you?
This is how this opens.
No, he runs over and lady's having a baby, and he jumps out and he runs over and he finds a cop on the corner.
Oh, the
Like
cop
a
runs
patrolman.
over.
And he goes,
The cop goes to
hey,
check.
there's a lady having a kid in the
Right.
back of my car. I need help. And then the cop starts to deliver the baby and notices, oh, it's a monster baby, and
And
pulls
the
his
cop
fucking
pulls
gun
out his
out.
gun. Yeah.
But
And he
then
gets a few rounds off, but doesn't
no,
kill it.
She then goes, no, and she grabs the gun, and now he's fighting and trying to shoot the baby. He gets the gun, he gets control of the gun, and he aims it right at her crotch, basically, and she starts letting off shots, but then the baby still eats him,
Yeah.
kills him.
It's great.
Pulls him into the car,
Yeah.
rips him to pieces.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's good.
Yeah.
And then from there, we go to the courtroom sequence.
I like the courtroom sequence.
The courtroom sequence is great.
Yeah.
So Michael Moriarty, the star of this movie, is so when people they'll say like Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, right?
Oh, sorry, this is also 1987, so it's almost 10 years.
Long time later. Think any other director actor duo that you can think of.
Yeah.
It's Larry Cohen and Michael Moriarty. Michael Moriarty's the star of The Stuff. Michael Moriarty's the star of Q the Winged Serpent. He's his muse.
Okay.
And he's fucking funny.
Yeah, this guy has a really interesting character arc.
Dude, so this guy has lines like, okay, so they're at a courtroom, and he's another father of one of these monster children, and it's a big courtroom brouhaha about what to do with these with this child, and then you have one side that's saying it needs to be destroyed, and his side's saying obviously that it needs to be not killed, and
Which is funny because his defense is, yeah, it scares the shit out of me. Yeah, I don't want to be
I
its
still think it has a
father,
right to live.
but it has a right to live, but not with me.
not with me.
You figure it out.
And the lawyer kind of says like the only way you're ever going to be convincing is if you know. 'Cause I think that the prosecution brings
Does,
out
yeah.
they bring
He
out
tries to trick him. Or
Right.
he uses it to his advantage, saying, yeah, you need to see your own child.
Yeah, because if he sees that the jury sees that he's scared, then and we had some amazing claymation, stop motion work here with the alive monster baby in this little cage with a little chain wrapped around its neck, and he walks up to it and he says, "What does he say?" He says, "Come on, man, if you don't like if they don't
Oh, he's talking to the baby.
He's talking
yeah.
to the baby and says like these assholes are going to win this case if you don't play ball with me right now."
He's like, you gonna let these assholes win? And yeah,
Right.
like we said, like they're babies, but they for some reason when you talk to them, people talk to them like they're grown children and they understand everything they're saying. You know.
I think at this point, it's taking the whole thing and really showing it as the farce that it is at this point. And if you want to if you want to extrapolate it to the pro-life, pro-choice farcical circus that that's also kind of become in the media, like you could probably draw some lines there to this. The judge throws his hands up and says, the only thing that I can think of to mediate this situation is we have to take these babies that are left, just like 5,
Right.
I can't remember, the ones they have in captivity, and we just got to put them on an island.
He's like, where could we find a place for them to live? Which is interesting because when it starts in San Francisco, I thought, are they going to put them on Alcatraz?
Right.
Because they show the island in the beginning. They show Alcatraz. I'm like, yeah, put them in fucking prison, I guess.
They put them on a Jurassic Park tropical island.
No man has ever lived.
Yeah, and just let them go there to live out their days.
Yeah.
And so the plot of this is 5 years later, these scientific expedition want to go check on them and see like how they're doing. And that's kind of what the movie is. But in between that, you get Michael Moriarty. You see him essentially. Again, this movie's not about monsters. It is, but it's about a guy who, he
can't get laid anymore.
He can't get laid by a hooker he was actually a good lay. Like he was a good lay, and as soon as she found out that he had one of these things, she said, "Stay away from me." So his ex-wife doesn't want to talk to him, the mother of the child,
because she's pretty good. She's pretty anonymous. People don't know who she is.
Right. He's in debt up to his eyeballs, so has no choice but to sell the rights to his to his life story or whatever.
Seems like he fought that though.
He did, but like he realized he had to do it in order to pay back the lawyers and everything. So there's like a tell-all book. So now everybody knows who the fuck he is.
And he's like the Eminem in 8 Mile, who's like, yeah, you're gonna make white jokes. Like I've heard them all.
Right.
Like, did you ever hear the one about he's brash, he's abrasive, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. And he's a kid's shoe salesman. At one point, the worst one hates the kids. He's like Al Bundy, essentially, from Married with Children. Again, predates Married with Children.
I swear to God, someone saw that. And, yeah, he's Al Bundy.
He's Al
Not
Bundy.
in the whole movie, but in the scene, he's Al Bundy.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so
gives it to the mom and the kid, gives it to the other parents, doesn't give a shit about the.
So quite like Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, they say, we're going to go back in. And instead of him going like, no, I'm never going to go back there and I have nightmares, he's like, fuck it, why not? I got nothing else going on in my life. I might as well. And he has a grand old. He's like, oh, I get to go on a sailboat.
Yeah.
That's his thing. They take a sailboat.
Like when the female scientist or hunter lady's there, he's just like, hey, baby.
He's hitting on her, just,
I don't give a shit what you do.
With
you want
wild
to
abandon. He's shooting people with tranquilizer darts just as a gag, just because, hey, man, that was funny.
Well, no, because he goes, these won't hurt them. And he goes, you sure it's not going to hurt? And he goes, yeah. So then he shoots him to kind of prove to him, like, no, you might be a scientist, but you need to have a little humanity here. Like,
right. He gets them all to sing songs on the deck. He's amazing. And
but you can tell some people are just like, shut him up.
Yeah,
he's not
obnoxious.
He's not taking this serious enough too. He's going to get us killed.
Oh, not taking this serious enough? You mean like they get on the island and immediately start saying, "Hey, these guys are here to fuck these guys. You should eat them all or run away." Which is exactly what happens. Oh, before that, we saw somebody who came that wanted to hunt them.
Yes.
So there's a scene where the world most dangerous game. This guy shows up and wants to hunt them, and that goes about as well as you'd expect. They all end up dead. I'm shaking my fists in excitement right now, and you can't see it because they get there by helicopter, and the last guy who's about to escape this island with this hunting party gets on the helicopter, and it seems like he's getting away, but nope. There's it's a live baby monster
no.
in the helicopter.
Take a step back, though. The main part, that was just the helicopter pilot. He's not really anything to do with this, guys. He just flew them there. That's it. The main guy who got attacked but got away, got his arm taken off. So he gets to the beach and he's like, the helicopter guy. Oh, help me.
He's like, no, fuck this.
Yeah. And so, he could have gotten away. The helicopter guy's just like, fuck off. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then, yes, what you said.
And there's a baby monster inside the helicopter. And the helicopter, he attacks the pilot, and then the helicopter just explodes.
In midair.
God bless this movie.
So this is why you think it's a certified classic.
It's certified 100% certified classic.
This falls into the category of it's so bad it's good.
I think that it knows what it is.
At least in the second half. The first
I
half
think it absolutely knows what it is.
I think the first half is a little bit more legitimate, and the second half just turns into a fucking farm of weird,
Cubans, okay? So they get to the island and they are full grown. I kind of miss the baby monsters. They're now full grown humanoid.
Oh, but there is a baby monster.
That's right. Later on there is.
Yeah, in 5 years they've grown enough.
And they also kill all these people except for Michael Moriarty, who
Well, no. At least that one guy's still on the beach.
That's true. One guy gets left alive on the beach by himself.
He gets stranded there.
Yeah. He made out okay.
I guess
compared to the others. So what's happening here is that the humanoid babies want Michael Moriarty to take them back to Florida.
Okay, can we just talk about what goes on that boat?
You mean all the bodies getting eaten and stuff?
I guess. Okay, 'cause it seemed like it was. I don't know, but he's talking to his son, who is one of the monster people. And the monster doesn't talk, but he talks to them. He's like, "What are you doing? All the bodies?" And he looks in the window, and there's a shot of like two of them. You can't really see what they're doing.
Carrying one.
He goes, oh my God.
They're eating it.
I figure, but it almost seemed like, are they raping the bodies?
No, they're just eating them.
It seemed kind of dirty.
They're just eating them. But these monsters are freaking and getting their freak on with each other.
Yes.
Because they've created the second generation baby monster baby.
Yeah.
And they want Michael Moriarty to chart a course for them back to Florida, seemingly because his son wants to, again, like we've seen in the other movies, wants to find his mother.
And he mentions they have like telepathy. They kind of
talk to each other without talking and stuff. Big heads and
like he knows where his mom is because he can feel
Again,
her.
this is this whole thing which doesn't make sense why they only last for like 5 years or whatever it is, because they're also dying because their lifespans are lower, which again is kind of
no. They had the measles.
Is that what the?
So it's like someone who had been killed by them had like broken out into a really bad rash, and then like at one point near the end, like she's examining them, and she's like, no, they have all this shit on them. Turns out they're not gross; they're just covered in measles.
I don't remember them.
So I think it's like they're not actually. They can't survive everything. They've been getting sick.
Right.
Not that I don't think that they can't live longer. Is that they've been susceptible to some kind of disease that's been killing them.
Right. So.
This is Jurassic Park 2. They get on the mainland.
I literally wrote Jaws and King Kong and Jurassic Park are all things I wrote down.
This is when the T-Rex gets in San Diego. But not really. I mean, they don't like...
Okay, so before they get to Florida, though, Michael Moriarty's son realizes that all the bodies are gone, all the meat's gone, and the rest of them are going to eat him. They don't care if he's his father, so he throws him overboard to save his life. And he gets picked up by Cubans.
Which he made a joke before earlier saying, like, I should just take you guys to Cuba instead.
Right, I should just take you guys to Cuba instead. And they got him strapped down to a gurney, and they're interrogating him, and they're like, you're an American spy. And he's like, no, you don't understand. My mutant son. And like this.
And they're like, we're the dirty communists who are evil.
Right.
And, yeah.
And it was a wonderful little fuck it, like, flip it reversal. Instead of having the next scene with Michael Moriarty being in an interrogation room or him escaping the Cubans or whatever, they're just good guys, and they take him back to the mainland, right where the mutant people have arrived. And the end is okay. I didn't love the end.
Cops show up and they're like monster eating people. They save.
They're
some girls
attacking gangs. They're trying to rape people.
There's a big gang, like Michael Jackson's "Beat It" type gang fight in the streets.
Right.
But then the Cubans go like, he's like, why do you help him? Like, he's like, because we have humanity.
Right.
We're humans.
Yeah.
We want to help you.
Little political thing there from Mr. Cohen, I guess.
We're not monsters. We're people just like you. We have humanity as well. We want to help because these are monsters.
Right.
We want to help humans over monsters. Yeah. Baby finds the mom. The mom's being blackmailed by some guy who knows that she had a monster baby. He kills that guy, I think. They end up on the roof, and whoa, here's where it's just like, wow. The hand holding monsters with the baby.
Yeah.
This is where I'm like, yeah, you probably enjoy this. This is really bad, but it's also really funny.
I think it's quite intentionally supposed to be hilarious.
Yeah.
As soon as you watch the stuff, I think you're going to key in on what this guy's doing.
Basically, like I said, we find out they're dying, and like the monsters, the mom and the dad monsters, are holding hands as they're dying, and they give the baby to
the grandmother.
Right. And like, go take care of the baby because we love each other and we want to die together.
Right.
No, that's not the grandma.
Okay.
Or I mean, yeah, it's the mom who had the kid with the act. Well, also the guy was an actor.
Right.
That was the thing that people didn't believe him sometimes because he was an actor. But the mother of the one who's the main focus here, that's not the one. They give her the baby, but her son goes out in a blaze of glory fighting a bunch of police officers on a roof. Right. He just knocks them off one by one by one by one. They keep falling off the roof, and then they kill him. And then what happens?
I don't remember how exactly it ends.
Again, I was looking at porn on my tablet, so I wasn't paying attention.
I think the movie doesn't end as well as it starts, and the middle of it
no.
good,
They get a car. They steal a car. and they're driving together. So now this is the ex-wife who wouldn't give him his time of day
Right.
anymore. She snuggles up next to him while he's driving, and then she's holding the baby, and he's like, "Hey, we got no money, we got no place to go. Cool, let's do it."
Yeah.
And they go on a road trip.
They go on a road trip. Yeah, this movie's great.
This is as B movie as B movies get, man.
This is the reason to watch this is Michael Moriarty. So if you like him, you'll love this.
Yes, he was enjoyable.
And I think I enjoyed the stop motion monster effects, what little of it there was, and it's just stupid. It's just an amazing stupid movie that's a lot of fun to watch.
We have another size-changing monsters kind of frequently, but this one they kill people and steal their clothes and wear them.
Yeah,
They like wear the ripped up clothes. So
Right.
yeah, it is a weird movie. If the first two movies didn't exist, I could see this being as like some weird B horror movie from the 80s.
yeah.
Now the fact that it has a
It
lineage
feels like a canon film. Well, you don't know what that means.
I mean, the fact that it has a lineage leads to this, but on its own, it could very much be some really fucking weird
there was a
horror
cool
movie.
column that I found that the whole point of it was to watch a movie in a series way down the line without having watched any of the ones. And this is
Yeah.
what they started with. And he's like, I struck gold like on my first one. He was in love with it, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
that's-
before we talk about the remake, summarize or say whatever for these three movies, since they were written, and directed by Larry Cohen and they're their own thing. I sometimes we watch these like Leprechaun or whatever series that I don't know how much I want to recommend, or as much as it was, I really enjoyed these. I'm glad I discovered them. I want to thank our patron for like recommending it, because it was something I was already kind of circling but didn't finally have gotten around to doing. I'm in love. If they release these all in like some nice like Blu-ray or whatever, I'm gonna buy it.
And to be clear, just because I was on Instagram for one of the movies and porn on the other, it doesn't mean that I wasn't enjoying it. It's just I've been sick this week, and I was just kind of doing two things at once and just watching two different things. But I'm glad that I watched them because they are enjoyable to have this in my brain as something that exists.
And it makes me excited to watch more Larry Cohen movies, which there's a lot to watch still.
So with that caveat, because you felt like that needed to be said before this 2008 remake type thing was talked about, where are we on that one?
I mean, it's just, don't watch it.
Okay, so
I don't see what the point of watching it is, but we'll talk about it.
I don't think it's as bad as you try to like make it out to be.
No, it's not. But it's pointless.
The word would be,
but it is bad.
It's
just
not
horrible.
It's not good, but at least it looks like a movie. This isn't like Cracker Jack. This isn't like a really bad like.
I guess it's shot like
it's shot like a movie.
No, it's shot like a direct-to-video sci-fi movie.
This is better than some. This is better than I Am Omega. This is better than Transmorphers. This is better than.
I haven't seen that stuff, but this is on par. No, it's not, because even that movie looked better. But
this
like
is on par with Return of the Living Dead Part 4 and 5. And the reason why I say that,
that's about
I
right.
think this is the same thing. I want to say this was shot somewhere like in Romania
or
something like that.
Yeah,
you can tell by the architecture of like the hospital.
You
and
can tell
stuff.
that they didn't shoot it in more than basically one location.
Right.
The whole thing's in one house.
Well, that too, but I mean, just the actors they got, like they feel like they're. They got the guy from fucking Game of Thrones in there though.
He wasn't from Game of Thrones,
right? But I mean, like he seemed like he's a good actor. And
this came out in 2008.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The Game of Thrones, it's
it still feels like it's in the 90s, with the drifts and the way they're dressing and talking and stuff.
It's the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch before. Yeah. Oh, well, spoiler alerts! Before Jon Snow becomes Lord Commander. I've been watching Game of Thrones. So he's really bad in this movie too. It's someone who's a really good actor in Game of Thrones. He's really bad.
It's not like he had anything to really.
But I mean, someone who you could tell has acting chops.
Right.
He's just.
Well, maybe he knew he was in a shitty movie.
I guess. I don't know. Or just like he wasn't that good yet.
There were some horror effects and stuff that I enjoyed. Go ahead. You want to talk about it? I don't really have anything to say about it.
College girl going for her master's gets pregnant. Her friend's like, "Oh, you don't have the baby. You need to get your thesis. Don't give up on life. Oh, I'll come back to school. Don't worry. Sure you will. You say that, but you won't." And then of course she doesn't, because she has a monster baby. She goes to live with her boyfriend, who's the father. They go to the hospital. All the doctors get killed in the room, But the baby is not a monster baby. It's actually a normal looking baby, I guess, because after all the doctors get killed, they find her with a baby on top of her in like the delivery room.
What can like hide its teeth and monster eyes?
I guess, yeah, it can transform into
when it
regular
freaks
baby.
Out, then it turns into monster baby.
So it's why it's a little bit different here. People can see the baby; it didn't run away, but they're like, "Who killed all these people?" Goes home, baby. If you heard us talk about Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5, if you've seen either one of those, this is literally the equivalent of like, yeah, this is the same exact thing. Meaning like quality of acting and the way it looks and the way it's shot, it's all exactly the
I
same.
just think it's a big difference between somebody like Larry Cohen, who they're going to make there's a documentary coming out soon
Right.
about how awesome this guy was and what he was able to do with what little he had.
Right.
And then you go to this where similarly, I'm sure they had no money. But
I always feel like when you hear about these movies, it's like, oh, we had a budget of like $2 million because movies became so expensive over the years. Even indie stuff, low budget stuff is like $1 or $2 million is a low budget. But with that much money, you're like, dude, 7 figures, you can shoot something decent.
But some of it's not even just the budget. Like I'm interested to hear these stories. I could be wrong, but I bet you there's stuff like Larry Cohen made a point on making friends with people in the LAPD and, was able to like pull some strings.
Right.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm saying if you told me that story, I would believe it.
Right.
And
guerrilla filmmaking in the 70s.
Filmmaking, absolutely. So when you look at something like this and you go, wow, this is so fucking boring. The entire thing takes place in this house and the house doesn't look interesting at all.
Okay, see, I think you're not giving enough credit. Like, it's not bad like that. It's just one of those things where you don't really like any of the characters. The actual characters that are written
are all boring, and they don't have anything cool to say to each other. They don't have any good lines.
But like the actress who plays the mom, like she does a good job of playing that character.
There's nothing wrong with her acting. It's the script.
Right. But I think sometimes when we talk about, like, you go watch some of the Return movies or some of the later movies in the Leprechaun series, like, you would hire people who are not great.
But
you know what I mean?
My point is,
this is just it's kind
when
of
you have somebody that's making the movie who's actually is actually talented. You can take what you have to work with here and you can make something interesting. There wasn't anything interesting here.
Right. Really, there's no arc because by the end, nothing interesting happens at the end, so there's nothing that can lead up to it. It's just she has the baby. There's the father has a younger brother because their parents died in a crash, so she's now living with her boyfriend and his younger brother. And he's in a wheelchair, which this is where we get bad filmmaking. There's a subplot of him at school, and a girl meets him and says, "Oh, I heard that your brother's, so it'd be her aunt, who was the one who had all the doctors killed in the hospital. You're kind of famous or whatever." But that goes nowhere. There's 2 scenes. One, she introduces herself to the boy, and later they're eating lunch, and she looks over at him, and she says something, but then is never explored again. So yes, that's bad filmmaking. I mean, the baby eats a pigeon. That's when it kind of got weird because there's no explanation of like, she's looking for the baby, she can't find it. She's like, Daniel, and she's like, no, don't eat that. And as a parent, you're like, don't eat that dirt on the floor, don't eat that thing. And it's a fucking pigeon with its head ripped off and there's blood everywhere. At that point, you didn't go, wait a minute, what? You just saw your baby eat but I think at this point, she's in denial. She knows what it is, but she doesn't want to accept it. Later, she finds a dead rabbit inside the crib with the baby, all eaten. So she's crazy at this point. Kind of like in the first movie, she's nuts. The father doesn't seem to see any of it. He only sees the regular baby.
You mean the motocross architect?
Does he motocross?
He says as soon as this baby's old enough, we're going to go four-wheel driving. And
to be fair, I had to watch this movie while pausing it every 30 seconds because my wife is trying to book a trip to Seattle and talking to me about flights and prices, and I had to pause the movie constantly. I might have missed some of that, and then watch it and fast forward as I'm going between it. The baby eats it eats a person. It eats a psychologist that comes to visit, so she has to like dump the body in the car out in the woods somewhere. That's when you're like, oh shit, she's really just gone. There's no like what. That's where you're like, yeah, this is a bad movie because it's like, what are we building towards?
It's not bad. It's just pointless.
Right. They're not building towards anything other than.
I just think this is that whole thing where when somebody makes something and I go, okay, cool. What does this stand on the shelf next to? Like, what do you?
Well, I think they're just
who's
trying
the
to
audience for it?
It's just someone who's looking. Okay, so I was gonna make a point here with back in the day with Blockbuster and these stores, right? You had your cheaper movies that you could rent that because the other ones are sold out. You go, here's just a direct-to-video horror movie, whatever. The difference nowadays is there's no like direct-to-video. It's direct-to-video on demand, right? And I don't know because I don't rent movies like that really, but my guess is pricing. But when you have everything at your fingertips, there's no limited quantity of the new movie at a Blockbuster. Anyone can rent the new movie on demand. Why would anyone rent this movie when you could just rent a better movie?
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. And I guess it's because maybe renting this movie is $2 and renting like a newer release is like $10 maybe. I don't know the pricing on it.
But also
shit
just
like
the kind of movie that it is. I mean,
but I think about we have the Alien vs. Predator and the people
Aliens vs. Predator what I was thinking about when you're kind of taking me a test for being too critical. I will give AVP a never-ending amount of shit for being cynical. You're just taking the name and making like a shitty movie. I think this is the same thing.
But like, who's paying for a Wesley Snipes or a Steven Seagal movie direct to video, right? Like, and I know years ago, not even years ago, but like not that many years ago, I go, oh, it's at Walmart in this big bin. They go, every DVD's $2 or $3. It's easy for someone who doesn't have enough money to get it. But with on demand, which I mean, maybe this is 2008, this is different. I feel like why would anyone rent this? Because now you actually can get anything you want for about the same price. I feel like this was just made for that. It's just made for a cheap. It's going to go direct to video, and someone who's going to rent it for $2 or $3 or buy it for $2 or $3. So I'm not going to shit on them for like why they tried to make a just low budget horror movie.
No, I won't either. And
but in terms of like, yes, you're
like,
what is the point of this? There is no point. It's just supposed to be literally put it on the shelf. Someone, not a rube's going to come by and go, oh, look at this. There's a horror movie. I have $2. Let's rent it tonight. You know.
But at some point, somebody said we have the rights for It's Alive.
That too, probably.
So why? So okay. So nobody was like, oh, I love that movie.
Right. I don't know. I don't know why it was made.
You know what I mean? Because if somebody, but I knew the answer. The answer is just what you said. Make one of those quite cynically.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, I love that movie by Larry Cohen. It would be like a comedy. It would be like a half, like it'd be a fucking weird thing. But
this is just some was a film school, got out, was offered a position to direct a movie with a low budget. Maybe they liked it. They want to pay homage to it. They got the rights for it. It's very low price. We can throw it on a Walmart wall. Hey, we'll probably make our money back and then some. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, in that regard,
it's one of those.
It's bleh. In terms of actually watching the film, it's fine. It's just that yes, plot wise, there is nothing that it builds towards to being interesting. It's just mom has gone crazy. The baby's killing people. At some point, you get CGI baby sticking its hand through her friend's face and then jumping off of a pipe in a basement onto the cop. So it's like they had enough money to like have fire and CGI babies, but no, none of the characters are interesting. All it turns out to be at the end was the dad was kind of blind to it all. Which, okay, maybe you watched it, right?
Kind of.
Because sometimes you don't watch some of these and we get near the end, you give up.
May have gotten some work done while it was on.
The scene in the basement when the cop, when he finds the blood and he's like, hey, put your hands on your head. Did you watch that scene? Okay, the cop goes into the basement at night. The house has lost electricity. Finds the dad. And he's like, hey, and finds the dead bodies of her friends that she had stashed away. He's like, hands on your head, I'm going to arrest you. And then he's like, wait, there's a noise. Don't move. And he turns. Of course, the guy gets up and moves. And he's like, ah, shit, you know. And then he runs into him again a minute later in the basement, you know. And now the dude's got a shovel. And the cops like points the light at him. And they say something. And then he's like, yeah, okay, good. We're on this together now. Like, I wasn't just going to arrest you 10 seconds ago and you ran away from me, but we're cool now? Like, it made no sense. But if you didn't see it, then I have no one to talk to, and I'm just talking to a wall.
I don't remember. I just remember vaguely young lady going insane, being college roommate friend, having a spat. I remember a guy at the very beginning made a really like stupid.
And I knew that joke was coming too.
Oh God.
Yeah, the two girls are hugging, and he walks in. And he's like, "Hey, don't let me stop you."
I can't. It's amazing to me that this is from 2008. I'm really surprised. Like, of course it is now that I think about it.
Right.
But this is the way that movie started and just the tone of it and the like, lesbian action, just all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this had to have been from like 1998. Like that's
I felt like this is like an early 2000s.
Or early 2000s.
Hey, maybe it was made back then and didn't get released for years. Who knows? I don't know.
Possible. Because it feels a lot like you said, there's Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5.
I feel like when I started this, I'm like, this feels exactly the same. Like, they hired actors whose English isn't their first language, but they're good enough to fool you to think they might speak English proficiently, but you can tell they're not quite, whatever. But yeah, after all said and done, the cop gets killed, the other cop gets killed, the mom goes out and then he takes the baby out in the woods, the dad, and he has it like in a trash can, and he's got a gun. I'm like, are you just going to shoot like into the trash can, but you don't even know if you're going to hit it or not? And then he wises up and goes, but it's my baby. I want to open the trash can and look at it, and he sees it, and then the baby like transforms into Monster Baby, and then attacks the dad but doesn't kill him. The mom gets the baby. Oh, come here, sweetie. She takes the baby back in the house, which is now on fire, and I guess her thinking is like, well, I guess I do need to kill this baby. I'll just take it in the fire with me, and we'll both just burn up. And then the guy and his younger brother in the wheelchair are outside, and they just watch the house burn. It's like, it's over.
Whoa, super grim, bro.
Yeah. If that description sounds like me summarizing Twin Peaks, because that's your summary in a minute, like that, this, and this, and that, and then it's just over. Okay, done.
Yeah.
There's nothing to talk about.
I don't think there's any reason to watch this movie.
Yeah, I guess not. It's just, I mean, unless you want to watch all the It's Alive
If you
movies.
feel like you need to be a completist about it.
I see you always fight me on that. Like, no, you have to watch all of them in a series. If it's part of the series, you just watch it. If it sucks, it sucks. It's part of the series.
Right.
Sort of, in a way.
Okay.
So rank them in order, as we always do.
First one, third one.
1, 2, 3, 4, right? Oh, you like the third one more.
The third one's way better than the second one. Way better.
For which reasons, though?
Every reason. all reasons. Acting, just entertaining, the script, everything. Way better.
I can't argue with you because I could see there are definitely the best parts of 3, even the parts that aren't horrible good, like they're actually good, are better than anything in 2. But I like the message and the story of 2. Plus,
I do too. I like them all. I just think that the second one is slightly more boring than the first one.
Yes.
It didn't show me enough new things
Right.
to the first one. Whereas the third one showed me all kinds of new stuff.
And
it
that's
has
the thing
Michael
is,
Moriarty in it.
I kind of like that there was a continuation of 1, and
Right.
and that the mom was kind of pretty in a
I was-
in a weird 1970s way that usually when you look back you're like, man, fashion was my first note for that movie is, wow, the fashion is amazing. Just the way they look always makes them unattractive, but I liked the mom. She looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'll go 1, 3, 2, 4.
Okay, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
The third one is
That's fun.
it's a
I'll watch it again.
yeah, it's not bad.
Watch it again right now.
Or it is bad, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, with that said, It's Alive.
Would you be willing to do like a
David Lynch
not
retrospective?
tomorrow,
Sure,
too,
let's do that.
but like a Larry Cohen thing. I'd like to like make you watch them.
Sure.
Some of the other ones we could do
Like we
this-
don't have a million other
I know.
series.
At some point in life, do like Q and the stuff, and I haven't seen like God Told Me To, and Black Caesar, and some. Of
I
these
mean, if
other
you already
things.
have some of these, since you already have the stuff, we've already watched this,
Yeah.
but I don't want to go on a hunt to try
No.
to,
We'll see.
find...
After I've accumulated all of them, then.
Right.
All right. That's it for
gonna,
me.
It's going to do it for Alpha Rookie on this horror movie podcast. Join us for the next one, which don't know what it's going to be. If you have one you want to request, join the Patreon. Go look at the tiers. I don't want to tell you how much it's going to cost because you're not going to like it. But like I said, we already have a lot of movies. We already have a lot of horror series lined up. We already have the movies. I've been wanting to watch them, but we've been busy doing other stuff. So if someone wants to request us to do one, I mean, like, we're going to have to stop what we're doing to do these. So that's why, why we would like you to do that. We also have a million things to do. So it's up to you. If you really have something that you like, you want us to do, you can do that. But just remember, we have a million things to do already. So
Also, you can just go to our Patreon and give us $1. That's fine.
yeah, I would like $1. I would like $1. Dollars are nice.
Okay, that's it for me. I'm ready to go to bed or go home.
Yep. And I'm ready to watch Twin Peaks tomorrow.
Oh, Twin Peaks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.